to
I think 11 is
another
an
episode.
extremely relevant number for us.
You ruined it.
Damn, sorry.
Look at that. I'm not the one that said the...
I'm the one who did it. So time is very complicated and complex. It's a bunch of timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly stuff. You didn't hear me say any of that. Let's rewind it and let's go back. Hey, start over.
Why are you speaking like a child?
I was just going for... the
I'm
moment's
glad
gone.
Nisha got that
The
one.
moment is gone.
Come on. The John Hurt. Oh.
War Doctor.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yes, I know.
Poor doctor,
I
yeah.
was going for a very specific reference, but also like
Do it.
what's the word?
Suave.
Yeah, and
Debonair?
it was
No,
ruined.
no,
It was
suave, no,
ruined.
no.
Maybe I
That's
can-
not going to happen here. Come on now.
Smooth.
You know that.
I mean,
Smoothness doesn't happen. What's wrong with you? What show do you belong to? Oh my God. You know what it's like being on this. We are crazy when we're on here. So just so most people know, they don't usually get to see this side of us. When we're doing the shows, we're so poised. But this is really what the team is like. A little
Inserting
mad.
a word.
A
Yeah.
little, yeah.
Poised. I like that. Poised.
Poised,
I'm going
right?
to use that
We're
word.
normally poised.
That's going to be my new pontificating.
Yeah, no, poised.
Poised. Your New Yorkie could come out
Yes,
of there.
my New York is coming out. Oh,
mine
Lord.
just sounded like if any of you have seen Into the Spider-Verse, you sounded like John Mulaney's Spider Pig thing.
Spider Pig?
Noir?
No, that's Spider-Man Noir. That
Oh.
Spider Pig.
Oh, that's good.
That's what I guess he's New York. Yeah. Okay, so you sound like a New Yorker. I was like, wait a second.
Just saying.
Yeah, that's
Just saying. I'll identify with that. So basically, hey, while you're on listening and watching us, go ahead and get your your thoughts and your comments out.
Oh
to us
no,
so we
I
can see
apologize, Reggie. Oh gosh.
What did we do? Reggie said what?
Oh, nothing. He's just watching. So I apologize.
My God, poor Reggie. Welcome to Diversely Geek, Reggie. We really appreciate you
This
being
is my
here.
mom.
I'm the geek.
I love all the TARDISes in the background and all the posters. Those are pretty awesome.
Is it enough though? Like we thought that maybe it wasn't enough.
No, I think you need more. You need more.
Hey, by the way, do you see that reference all the way in the back behind Joe's head? Do you happen to see those
Yes.
Christmas ears? Anybody know what that's a reference to?
Wait, I should be putting those on.
You should.
I literally walk into every time someone walks by me, like the cubicle at work. and so I go, like that's how I just greet people. I'm like, but they don't get it unless
Stir fingers.
they're moving.
So yes, Molly,
I
I'm
got
sure
it.
you got that back there, right?
Yeah.
In case you didn't get it.
Yeah.
Get it? It's Wilf, the unsung hero. Oh wait, he's not really unsung.
course.
He is the hero. And so I was saying how much I really enjoyed having the opportunity over the last week and a bit, both of you, to be able to watch and start over from the ninth all the way here to 13. And having done that and then going back a little bit and looking at the references from the first Doctor, actually a lot from the first Doctor, I really realized
Mhm.
there's a lot of first and third Doctor references throughout the 9th up to 13th. And a lot in
Oh, yeah.
12 and 13th, huge amount. I mean, I knew it,
Purposefully.
but I really purposefully knew it at this point because I really wanted to pull in and look. And I was like, okay, I think that it would really behoove. Sorry, I had to use that one too. The new Whovians to probably take the opportunity they can to look on BritBox and to be able to
BritBox is a phenomenal streaming service.
really amazing to be able to get the core and to do the justice to be able to look at the first 3 Doctors
Yes.
and understand how
This is
much.
not sponsored.
How much of no, it's not sponsored. I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
And how much we really as like Molly and myself, having been watching since we were youngins, realize that there those the classic Who is really done very well in terms of homage in the last few Doctors, especially for me. I feel like 12 and 13 are very strongly representative of classic Who. Although, it's interesting to me that there are so many strong points out there about the newer 12 and 13 Doctor Who not being as representative. So that's a point of discussion, that we can always bring up at another time, unless you guys have any thoughts on that now.
I honestly think that this season, people are giving it a lot of strife and all that stuff, but honestly, we have to look back at the previous first seasons of both a new writing team and a new Doctor. It's only happened one other time, right? Mm-hmm. That it's been a completely new team, 100%. And it took a full season to go.
That would be 9.
Yeah. And it took them a full season to get into stride and actually start producing the episodes that we appreciate and love so much. And even in the first season, there's 1 or 2 great episodes, but there's some real bad ones. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, did you guys see the article about Chibnall and the social advocation that was being done today that came out? It was some people were complaining that it was hitting people too much over the head with all of the
over the head
social issues.
Definitely.
I mean,
we discussed that ourselves, didn't we, in our
really
episodes?
Quick. So for anyone that's
we did
here with our Doctor Who review again, because I know I said it earlier in the live stream.
In our false start. Sorry.
Well, not that, in the real start too.
Right,
so
right.
For anyone that's joining us, because I just sent out the links again over social media. So if you're joining us and you're brand new to Diversely Geek and Man Bites Media, welcome.
Yes.
To another episode of Doctor Who in Review. See, that's what I was going for.
Tonito was mooning the audience.
Listen, we promised you a cat, and then it happened. Just saying.
The wrong side, but sure.
I can't. It's not even that. It's just I go for the swab and then the specific. Anyone that's a Critical Role fan, I was referencing Matthew Mercer, and just.
Is it Thursday yet?
Well, no, the beginning. Welcome.
I know. Welcome to another episode of.
Sorry, I was saying welcome. Welcome, DG Lovelies, to another episode of Doctor Who in Review. So, if you're unfamiliar with who we are Diversely Geek, and we are joined with Man Bites Media here and some lovely other wonderful DG Lovelies and Man Bite Media Lovelies virtually to help us out tonight with our Doctor Who in Review. And it's going to be a live stream. As you can tell, as you're on the live stream, make sure that you're following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Diversely Geek, and also over at Man Bites Media. And you'll be able to keep up live with our coverage, which is going to be live tweeting, some fun stories on Instagram, and then the stream, which in about 10 minutes here, it's going to actually be us watching the show. And then during the commercials, we're actually going to be talking with you guys, and then also with our team here and having our discussions and thoughts. And if you have any thoughts and discussions and concerns, I don't know, for the Doctor, because with 13, we're always concerned for her. In a good way, because we love her.
I was about to say.
I'm always concerned. She's always, the Doctor's always going to. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's the nature of the Doctor.
Exactly.
I think that's probably written as one of the rules.
Tweet us, comment on
Just
our
saying.
videos on Instagram, message us, comment on the video on YouTube and on Diversely Geek's Facebook page. You can go over to the event there that we have. It's our New Year's Day Doctor Who in Review live stream. And if you're not following us, make sure and do that fun thing. And it's not the end of the video, but like, comment, and subscribe, basically, is what I'm saying right now.
And if you want to check out any of our content, we also have a lot of content up on Man Bites Media through the YouTube channel. We have about 150 episodes up on there that are different reviews of different movies that are streaming on any of the streaming networks. And you're able to check out our podcast, which right now we're putting up 3 episodes a week. And we have our fun-filled, basically 3 people in a bar talking about movies and stuff like that on Fridays, which Nisha has joined us so many times on and has been able to experience the funness that is the 3 of us.
I have been corrupted. Just
We
saying.
talk about anything and everything.
Molly,
To
wait
be
till
clear,
you're on
Man
that
Bites
show.
Media's podcast.
I know.
They're pretty fun.
That's actually a lot of fun.
I said
honestly.
it. No, they are. They really
They
are.
really are. So.
Actually, if you don't mind, Louis, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers exactly where they can find our podcast, because it's also Man Bites Media content, and then we have our co-hosted podcast,
Correct.
specifically this one, Doctor Who in Review, which if you haven't listened to any of our podcasts yet from this year, we started out with the beginning, the premiere of this season, and we've done a weekly Doctor Who in Review where we talk about the episode, and we have different guests on that we were featuring, and it kind of goes back and forth between Man Bites Media and Diversity Geeks podcast account. So make sure that you're following us on both of those so that you get both of the all of our content. And
that's going to be on Mondays each day, usually around evening time on Monday. So if you want to check your feed on Tuesday, if you go to sleep early, you'll be able to check out that new content every week. And then the Wednesday episode is retrospective. Now, the Friday episode is there's a lot of explicit language. So if you're not in for that, then that's definitely not something you want to check out, because there is a lot of explicit language in there. And the Wednesday episode, though, does not. It is just basically a review of anybody in film history or any movie in film history. And we bring on different personalities, different people, different fans, honestly, just everyday person that wants to talk about their favorite movie or favorite person in film. And we basically go through certain questions and we discuss the movie between the two of us. So it's always a fun time. And those are on Wednesdays, early morning hours.
Yeah, and then for Doctor Who in Review, those ones are going to be specifically Monday nights at the time being. And like I said, those ones will be back and forth between Diversity Geek and Man Bites Media's podcast platforms. Make sure that you're also following both of our YouTube channels. We have our Diversity Geek Discusses series and our My Geek Universe series as well, where you can learn a little bit more about our team, both at Man Bites Media and Diversity Geek, and you can kind of get a little bit more of a taste for what we like to discuss and our kind of social commentary on fandom and the shows that we like. And if there's any shows out there, movies, books, music, musicals, anything that you'd like to discuss with us, send us a message or comment on one of our videos and let us know, because
but just so you guys know, I'm officially the one who's getting spoiled, because I am the one live tweeting, so I will not reveal anything to anyone. I'm doing my best to stay.
The secret is to not tweet until you have a thought.
I got it. I got it, girl. I'm all about this. Been doing this now for a while. And I mean, we really wanted to be able to come into this spoiler free, and right, Molly, we really pretty much didn't want to get anyone's feedback, not per se. I wanted to be able to watch this and just enjoy what it was. I love enjoying Doctor Who as for what it is, as an emotional experience. I have had good feedback from my friends across the pond. And they've all sent me their feedback so far, which I can share with you later. I just don't want to do it yet. I think we'll do it because I got a couple messages like that. As you know, across the pond, they're 8 hours ahead of us, so everybody went to sleep and couldn't technically join us. But a couple of folks over on the other side will be joining us for our next few episodes of Doctor Who in Review. So we're going to be getting a more global perspective as well on our love for Doctor Who, and definitely a look in our review on the 13th Doctor and on Chibnall. And be kind, everyone. Be kind.
Exactly. So we're going to be starting here in a few minutes. The episode's going to start. So we're going to be pretty much quiet while we're watching the episode.
See me making the little sound. So just bear with me, okay?
And don't worry if you want to mute us or if you keep us on. We're not really going to be making noise because we're going to be silent watching along with you. And during the commercials is really when you can interact with us on social media, and turn that volume back up so you can hear some of the discussions that we're having. And if you have any pictures or audio clips or videos that you want to share of yourself, you can do that over on our Facebook event. If you look up Diversity Geek and you go to events, that's at the top of the page, you'll see that we have that event going there, and that's kind of a good place to have a discussion where you can send us some videos, pictures, audio clips, however you want to send us whatever you're doing. I mean, as long as it's family friendly. No, but it's New Year's Day, and I know that a lot of people are spending time with their families, but for a lot of us nerds, Doctor Who is a big part of the holiday. You know, we didn't have it at Christmas time, and that's been a very time-run tradition for at least us. I know since we moved back to Orlando quite a few years ago, we've been joined by lots of friends and family to watch the Christmas special. So I know it's a little different for everyone, Doctor Who fans specifically, but I mean, if you think about it, the season's completely different, so it's a welcome
Almost
change.
time, guys. 2 minutes to go.
It's a welcome change, and I really think that this is going to be a fun episode, and we have such a long hiatus in front of us.
I'm tweeting the person who did the music for tonight's episode.
Nice.
Because the apparently thumbs up.
Nice.
So that's the only spoiler you're getting. Okay, that's it. Sorry. By the way, I'm like very passionate about Doctor Who, so I will do my best to stay calm and quiet.
We're only
but
doing a
that's
live
probably not
stream.
going to happen.
Yes, no spoilers.
I'm just telling you right now, it is very unlikely that I'm going to keep my poise.
Yeah.
Got it in there.
Okay, guys. So get yourselves ready. The episode's about to start. We're going to be turning up the volume here on our TV. You can hear it in the background here.
So
like I said, follow us on all social media platforms. It's just going to be Instagram.com/DiversityGeek, Twitter.com/DiversityGeek, Facebook.com/DiversityGeek, YouTube.com/DiversityGeek, I think. I don't know about that one because YouTube's fun. You can just Google us, Diversity Geek YouTube. But then again, if you're watching this, you're on YouTube, so never mind Inception.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so the episode's starting, guys. We're going to go a little quiet here.
of course.
Have fun.
Why is there always water?
I really want the thing to pop out and eat them both.
Well,
They're cute.
No, they're not. They're horrible.
I like them.
what do you mean they're
Oh
horrible?
my god, that is
It's
horrible
a cheesy.
writing.
It's so cheesy. We know that.
No, it's beyond cheesy.
Did you see what I posted? I posted, best New Year's ever, one day in, yay. I said, yeah, that's ominous. You know somebody's in it. Something bad's going to happen.
Hopefully both.
Listen.
There it is.
There it is, girlfriend.
Oh.
You got it, right? I was wondering how they made it happen. Really? Who in God's earth would just reach out and
They're
touch
an
that?
archaeologist.
Yeah, but it's a blob.
It's always fun.
For you, just in time.
Mitch, you just appeared out of thin air. How did you do that?
I'm the doctor. These are my best friends, Brian, Yaz, and
Best friends.
Okay. Spend a lot of time in sewers, do you, Mitch? We're excavating an ancient burial site.
when you say we,
Lynn's through here. Lynn! There you are. These guys just sort of arrived.
hi, seen anything unusual then?
Yeah, there's something on the wall back there. What sort of something?
Ta-da-da.
Okay, I
That
love
was a very
that
relevant last moment. That very last line, so extremely relevant to the entire timeline of Doctor Who. Molly? Are you there? Did I lose you?
That's just music.
But no,
You don't like the
Yeah, I'm here, but ours is just slightly behind yours.
Oh, sorry.
yeah, I didn't dig it at all. I really didn't. It was
The
kind
Viking?
of lame.
Was
No.
Oh,
No,
just
the
the
romance
romance part.
part.
Yeah, I mean,
The
I
romance part, I
assume,
was like,
I
really?
know. They've been doing that a
So-
lot in this season. I don't cotton to it
I
that much.
assume that because it's going to be it's going to get really dark and emotional. They were like, let's throw in something light and fluffy and cute. And not gonna lie, it's New Year's Day. People don't.
Okay, so we're in commercial now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, like I wouldn't. I don't like rom-coms, but I thought that was like at least a little
Yeah.
cute. Like it wasn't. It was cheesy bad, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
the worst.
It was pretty bad.
It wasn't the worst that I've
Well,
seen.
who goes up to an octopus or thing or an alien just like that and
I
just goes
said
and
the
touches
same thing.
it?
I was like, what are you just walking up there? And I'm like, what?
I would have done this.
Yeah, I
But-
would have done this.
I would have liked to see something different for once in this season, and it feels like we're going back to that same well again, and it's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of bad writing in the first 5 minutes already, and I'm just kind of like
But then
A
you
lot
get
of
5
bad
minutes
writing?
a
later,
lot of bad writing.
and I personally,
so
I like
little lines.
the touch.
Wait, I like the narration though.
I didn't like
The narration was okay, but when I saw the little whippy tail thing going, I'm thinking, oh my god, is it a xenomorph?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The scarves. The scarves. That they stole the show already. The 2 scarves.
No,
Grams
but-
and
Grams and the Dr. Scars are totally marketing. Sorry.
And then Ryan's dad, it's like he walks in and he just doesn't even say anything about the box, and it's already the boom. Oh no, we're gonna hate on him. Let's do this.
Yeah.
I assume
It's
that
like
there's if we
Well, I
have to
mean, that
remember,
would
we
be
have
the
to
initial
see-
reaction, though. I mean, he's not been anywhere. He did do that. So the doctor's just going to straight out say it like it is. Just saying. Okay, go.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a hate on you doing like
I don't think so. I
the
think
doctor
she just
literally
was
just said these are my
honest.
best friends. I know when I've had issues like that, my best friend would react exactly like that.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that they're putting that side of empathy onto this
Mhm.
doc, because because you don't know, a lot of doctors gloss over things or just
Yeah, I'm okay
ignore
with it.
things. But I like that this doctor,
Yeah, they do.
he's invested in
the
them.
thing is though,
They're
it's
her
always
best friends.
very one-sided. So yeah, there is
But
it's a very one-sided argument that she has the doctor has done continuously and has been hating on father figures continuously throughout this. Besides
That's
Graham,
true.
father figure that she actually allows.
Are
And
you talking
even
about
then,
this doctor only?
This doctor only.
That's not true.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
actually a running theme, which is why I said at the end that very last line that the doctor says,
Dads are.
I've heard that dads can be like that. So I've heard is
That-
Yeah.
extremely
that would
relevant
tie
and
things
talent.
in. But also, I mean, we
That's
had
right.
that discussion on the
You
2
can't,
episodes
you
ago.
can't say that.
The only
man.
time
I
they've
mean,
ever
she
really
has,
dealt
this
with-
is the experience she has. So
Yeah,
she's
it's
gonna
like-
have that reaction.
Well, it goes back that comment goes back to Gallifrey.
That's
yeah,
what
that's
we're-
like that's
the point.
That's what
That
I
was
think
what
it's
I
like
was
an
saying.
overlying theme.
It is.
But then also personally, I've only seen that with one of like the episode with the what's it called, the forest and the Norway, Sweden, whatever. But I don't
You've
see
seen it before in Doctor
hating.
Who, but it's been subtle. It's
No,
not
I
hitting
mean
you
this
over the head
season.
type of thing.
Well, I
This
don't
season,
see
it's
it as
literally hitting you over the head with it.
I mean,
And
I
it's a
don't like
hatred
that
towards-
rhetoric. I don't
I don't
see it
think
as
it is.
We're back.
hatred. Interesting.
That
So-
is very interesting.
Few thoughts. Going back to the dad thing, I don't see it as, because the thing is, I think that goes into the rhetoric of like, oh, this is such a man-hating season, and
not.
it's definitely like
It's
not.
just calling
I mean,
attention to things. That's all.
It's shown it a lot. It has shown it more than it has in the past, and it's been more prominent this season. But that's besides what I was trying to say. I would have preferred what occurred with Graham rather than having. I would have liked to have seen that little moment where the doctor might be like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" And then he walks out and then talks to Graham. That would have been better. Just that whole.
technically, it happened right away. It was just the commercial was in between it.
But no, and they punctuate things with commercials. So there's a reason for having a commercial
Sure.
break. So there's a reason to have that. And if they would have put that at the beginning of a commercial break, it's because they want to.
Okay.
Yeah, what do you think, Polly?
I do think that the pacing
I'm back.
is weird so far. Like, so
To me, it feels like an episode of the X-Files. I'm not Doctor Who.
yeah, and like, well, again, that's the thing is like this season they've been branching out with like
There's
different feelings of the styling and the overall episode themes. I mean, personally, I've noticed each episode takes on like its own completely like as if it was a one-off, and has to do with the directing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the beginning was a little
Yeah.
interesting. Like, it would have been cool to see more of the Viking battle story
that would've
thing.
been-
Yeah.
Or like the
Instead of a love
Descendants.
story.
Well, yeah, and like, I mean, that's the thing is that I
No,
think
I
the
mean-
pacing
Or
is
the Guardians too.
Yeah, so like
I
Right.
love the idea of
Descendants,
the
like,
Guardians. That I would have
also
loved.
shout out diversity, because my first thought is always, oh, there's another brown person. Are they sure they're okay with this? Because people are gonna be mad.
Right?
But I mean, I love it.
I mean, it's a culturally diverse
it's
spots that they
actually
chose. So
representative
I
of,
thought that was
the
very
UK.
interesting.
So yeah, why not? That was.
I would have loved to have learned more about what the Guardians were and why. I mean,
Oh, right.
it just kind of was like
I
it
really
was just kind of like, okay, here you go,
Also,
and
that's-
then let's get to the tentacles.
That's the
Well, I
part
don't
of the
think that
season
they've really
I
gone
don't.
into a backstory.
I don't
of, like,
enjoy that at all,
this.
Lewis.
They've
At
done
all.
that in every single
keep doing
episode
that.
this season. They kind of introduced this
I don't
awesome
think
villains.
to this extent though, because it's the
Oh, they
Daleks, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden we're hearing about like this one Dalek that remained and like has
Right?
this epic tail. Like I think this is more of like a special. This could have been like a whole like
Oh
full
yeah.
long movie special just about that beginning part. But then yeah, it's a little jarring that it goes into the romance. I get it.
Yeah.
But I also now like definitely get why they put it in there to give some sense of a like lightheartedness.
Sometimes it's
Now we're
about
back.
creating a connection. So
Yeah.
That's where you start.
Yeah. I mean, the Daleks.
How do you
Yep.
feel?
They kept saying that there weren't going to be any Daleks too, and then they reneged.
Yeah.
well, though this is not the season. This
Well,
is a
they said-
special.
No, that's true.
Yeah, and they did say the whole promotion, like through every promotion for this, they had in the background the voice of the Dalek. So,
Oh yeah.
okay,
We're
there's
pretty
gonna-
much ready for it to come.
But-
I avoided any spoilers, so I didn't know anything until
Sorry,
spoiled it.
sorry. I thought you knew, man. I thought you
Um,
knew.
I would say like
I homage right here, Daleks. Right on the-
my feeling on the romance thing is that that's gonna probably be what gets her like out of it, and that's why they kind of have to put that in there.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I think the
It's
pacing's
just
been
off.
really weird.
It's
yeah,
really off.
like it shouldn't have gone from backstory to romance
Oh,
to
We're back.
No.
We're back.
It's
Oh wait.
No, it's
It's
just
a
a commercial.
preview.
It's a preview
It's a
commercial.
Oh, it's commercial.
For us, it's on.
How do you think I'm doing? Microwave
Okay.
and full
We're back.
Best quality for you, sir.
that was a great place to stop.
That
That's
was
another thing. The
interesting.
commercials are very abrupt.
Very.
Yeah.
Never used to be so abrupt. So I think the pacing has found itself. The beginning was a bit off.
Choppy.
I feel
Perhaps
like
on purpose. I don't know.
I love that Reggie was like, maybe I'm projecting, but I'm honestly like, same dude, because
No,
I-
that conversation was fantastic
But-
between the father and.
but that's the thing
So
is it had to get
for there to
It
get
can't
there-
have
Oh,
just
yeah.
been like
No, no,
now
100%.
you see the now you
100%.
see the movement.
But it's
100%, I
good.
see it, but
I
I don't
would
see
have
the
been the
doctor.
He
I
didn't, she didn't
do.
say anything
And all
wrong.
that
So-
she didn't belittle him or anything. She was just
Can
like,
I just say why the doctor does
No,
what
but
she does? And
I
it is
get why she does it. It's just it's been a consistent theme throughout
It
this
has
So
season
it's the
with
doctor
every male that
protects-
she encounters.
okay. Let me
So-
be honest with you. It is like
Definitely
that with
not.
the doctor with every person who is causing harm in any way to a companion. This is a running theme. In this particular case, you're dealing with someone that she cares so much for and wants to protect and wants to take care of, and that's
Yeah.
Ryan. And she's seen what he's gone through, and she's like, "Listen, dude, this is what you did. Life is simple, straight up, flat. You have to
Yeah.
you have to look at it
I
from
think
the
you're
point
seeing
of
it from a
view."
perspective of like, oh man,
Man, that's not what this is, man. This
Not.
is if I have to tell you, I could
No, but
hear,
this season has.
I can hear.
We'll
right?
agree to
Because
disagree.
maybe it's actually
Oh, your video is frozen,
like
you guys.
we actually
That's
are
right.
in life,
Let's
not
just be
all
straight
men,
up honest.
obviously. But that doesn't
In
need
this
to be
particular
said.
case, we're talking about one situation that has been a running theme since episode 1 straight to here,
Also,
and we have to
remember,
close it. So
it's
she's
a
closing
female
it.
doctor.
So you're seeing
And
it that way.
Chris Chibnall very specifically said before the season started
However,
that this doctor was going to be approached differently by men because she's a female. So the
What
reaction
eyes had put Matt Smith in that spot saying the
you
same thing?
wouldn't feel the
Because
same
Matt
way.
Smith would have said it, Tennant would have said it, Ninth
You
would have said
wouldn't.
it, and worse. So I'm just telling you that.
I mean,
Right now, you're
Capaldi
seeing
was
her
an
as a
ass
female.
to a lot of dudes.
Controversy. Sorry.
Well, Aldi was great at it though,
But I
and the
loved
way
it.
that he portrayed it, he did it to everybody.
Well, the thing is,
That's the thing. This
You
has been
have
very
to-
one-sided.
but you're seeing
It's
it from the
not
role of the
one-sided.
female.
You keep seeing it as the doctors, and that's and we're
I'm
not
just
trying
seeing
to
it as like
change any
someone that's
opinion.
emotionally invested. In
That's
people,
all.
in humans.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Ryan's dad part was a bit filler until they got to the next part. And then you have this Order of the Custodians thing. I'm like, okay, what's the Order of the Custodians? That almost sounded like something from Marvel.
We're getting it both ways on both sides. But this is not, I'm sorry, it truly is not let's come down on men thing. This is a storyline that has to start someplace and end someplace. And you just happen to be having a female doctor who's going, who, me?
Like, yeah, Reggie's like, I love your mom. And I'm like, yeah. Join all of my friends.
I love you too, Reggie! So here's the thing. I'm just telling you. Put this doctor in any other body, and the doctor would have done this plus worse. But the fact is, you're looking at the doctor as a female, and all you're doing is seeing a mother bashing. Let me speak, man. Let me speak. I know you're not. I'm talking about.
Because you know that there's a lot of.
Yeah, I know you know.
Guys out there that are.
Just so you know, we love this dude. It's just that we're seeing the doctor from a female motherly perspective right now. Because the doctor's in a female body, and we cannot be disingenuous about this. We have to understand that when you're presented with the doctor in this body,
that Spock looked really weird.
He was weird, but you just like totally dashed my moment there. Now let's see if I remember it. But we can't be disingenuous about the fact that we're all attached to some type, some bias in terms of
what we've gone through in our lives.
Right, exactly.
I will say, like.
And that's
obviously,
okay, by the way.
She has had
and you're okay, because I have to say something. I'm pretty sure that BBC America and Chibnall knew that these are some of their reactions that were going to happen. Just
sure.
In 1 minute.
So I have two minds going on here with Lynn being the primary recon scout in a female body, and at the same time, another female character being imprisoned. What is this?
Her acting's great.
Yeah, right? Her eyes are intense.
That's what I was like from the beginning with the...
I was like, okay.
They were like...
I think they needed to ingratiate
you to her in one way. It was bad, cheesy writing, but I was like, okay, but I feel like these people can act.
It was... I think more than anything, it's bad dialogue, and
oh yeah, that's...
I go with you with that one. I
don't think it was necessary. I mean, I think that they did it because they wanted to fill and make something lighthearted, and again, for the end of it, probably pull her back.
They certainly could have done it just with a friendly relationship.
You're going to be able to predict.
It have to be anything else.
It's very predictable. The Dalek's going to lose. Why? Because of true love. It's going to end the whole.
Yeah. I don't know about true love.
We don't know, because Daleks. The Daleks are going to get kicked out. Think about Clark, like Osmond Oswald.
You say that with such sense.
She died. She didn't defeat it initially.
Yeah, but Clara dies every single embodiment that she has.
Yes, she did.
It's true.
So you think the Daleks in that sense.
Right,
she
Molly?
only won because she was
every single time.
So, but it was still sad.
But that's also
season.
This is a new season, new writers. They won't.
I mean, like...
I wonder, but you know how, like, the Daleks had their kind of hive minders, right? Wouldn't the recon scout be able to tell there aren't any?
I don't know if maybe they're pulled away from that.
Well, that's
from the hive mind.
That's what I feel like is.
Maybe
that's what I was actually wondering.
Because the Cult of Skaro has the same thing, so they're pulled away from the.
But they are still of Skaro, so he should have been.
Also, they don't have a casing, which that's what the hive mind is connects to.
Right.
That's correct.
That's true.
That's what the doctor was saying, was that you don't have your casing, so that's like half the battle right there.
This streaming is funny because like you guys are about a minute and a half ahead of me.
Oh no! Sorry guys.
Sorry.
No. We're at commercial now too, but it's just funny.
So I will say, in terms of just this episode, I absolutely love the writing and how they're doing everything with specifically Ryan's dad. I think that it was a very random time to pull it in. Like
it was
random time,
but he's an engineer. I think I can see the writing on the wall.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was like. Oh, engineer, we see where it's going.
Yeah.
Like in terms of bringing it in this, it's like okay, well, I mean, it could have. It's weird because like the writing and acting is still great in it, but it's like you'd want it to be more of a focal point. But I think that they did it. The thing is, they did a good job writing it over the season. But then it was like it's been a while since he talked about it, so it's been
they could have brought up the whole thing of him being an engineer in a previous episode or in the last episode.
Yeah, but they haven't at all.
Going to happen, so it's not so predictable.
So in your
I guess
face.
that's true, right? Because they did this one
a
a
lot
lot
in your
after.
face
Though.
here.
Didn't they
Yeah.
write and film this one a bit after?
Mhm.
They did, but they had the whole storyline set up according to Chibnall, and it's like, if you had that set up, I mean, come on, you could have done that before, so it's not so blatantly obvious. It's becoming very predictable, and I don't want it to be like that. That's
Like, I mean, like we keep saying, it's not about the actors or
no,
it's
it's
everything
not.
has to do with they're doing everything
It
that
could
you
be
know
the
to make
dir-
it enjoyable
I think
in
it's the
spite of it.
directing.
I think
more
it's
so.
the,
Because the thing is, like, I feel like
I
half of
actually
it's
agree.
been great with the directing. Like the scenes with her being controlled, I don't like it, which means it's great directing. Because
Yeah, I mean, it's very intense.
exactly, like if you're
that's
uncomfortable
why I
with
brought up that part about another
anything
female being in
non-consensual,
prison.
like,
I'm like,
that's-
come on.
that's not exactly fun.
It is something I
No,
don't
it's being
at
done
all
well.
enjoy about this entire
I think
new
this is
Who.
just a preview. She looks scared.
But that's
So I
that's
have this
the
perfect
that's the perfect look because that is what the doctor looks like when they're dealing with the Dalek.
I think that
Always.
honestly
Because
the
of the
beginning was just messy,
unpredictability.
because I like it now. It's just the pace in the beginning. It was a little.
Yeah. was
Now it
wonky
makes
at the
more
beginning.
sense, but it makes more sense. I understand some of why they did what they did.
I would have liked it. They just didn't have the.
but-
I mean,
The
I
whole
liked the
romance thing at
well,
the beginning was
honestly
kind of
the
off.
backstory with the Vikings
point.
because it makes us like it makes me want to know more.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
like-
but I could see why you need it. I wish they would have stayed in it a little bit longer.
It would have been
That
like
was a
so
great
so much
pocket to
more
be in,
suspenseful
right?
Yeah.
if like
Like
all-
this should be a 2-hour episode because I
yeah.
really feel
There
like
should have
we
been a
needed
special.
to have that.
You would have done a Christmas special and a New Year's special and split it up into 2 episodes.
Already we can say that just from the fact that it's good. It's good story. So the story is something I'm very interested in.
yeah, honestly,
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, you back?
If even it were
Yep.
2 hours, I think it would have been fine. But I think I feel like this episode must have had a lot cut from it because
Oh.
that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
I feel like the editing is really on the poor side on this.
Especially at the beginning.
Oh
Yeah,
my
no, because like
Lord.
I mean,
And
that
these
transition
commercial
wouldn't have
editings
been
are
like
ridiculous.
specifically with Ryan said it wouldn't have been as drastic if it didn't cut right.
I would
there.
have loved having that conversation with Graham and all that stuff, and I would have had no issue if Graham would have had that conversation before the commercial break. And I think that
Well,
the commercial break did impact it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know who's,
it did,
but that's been a.
and they took off without Graham.
I agree. Reggie just said there's no convenient time to bring his dad into it because it's just like real life. And honestly, that's very true because that the whole time the story was going, and they were talking
Love
in
it,
the
Reggie.
in
Exactly.
the cafe. I was like, this is too real. Like
I
it's so
love that
real.
dialogue. That was great dialogue.
And the
Well,
fact that he's
Yeah.
he's
that
not
he's-
like immediately like it's very realistic because he's not immediately forgiven. He's not like
So-
he didn't even apologize to Ryan.
Yeah.
And he still didn't. But don't you think it's interesting? The only person who would have possibly held him accountable in the language that we heard from the doctor could have been Ryan, could have been Grace, or could have been Graham.
Grace
And
wouldn't
technically
even,
speaking, and none of them did that
it
because
was the
Grace.
doctor.
But what I'm saying
Mhm.
is,
The doctor.
so
took
it
on
had
that
to
role.
come from somewhere, and Grace was
She was
lost
the
at this point,
protective
so she took that.
person over him
that
because
space, but-
Graham wasn't going to do that to him.
But
Graham
Graham
wasn't
did
gonna do
take that role.
Graham took that role, but he did it. He's doing it in a very nurturing way, and it's
Yeah.
not that the doctor's not being
Oh no, I
nurturing.
mean
the doctor's
was
just being very
being
direct.
well.
And some people have to hear direct after never hearing it.
Okay, real life, like honestly, that is literally something my best friend like would and has kind of said in regard to someone that like would have had like that much of an impact negatively on my life or
Mhm.
done something like that. Like,
True.
and not
Mhm.
even like the doctor said best friends for a reason, but if you think about it, like most of the doctors, yeah, they attach to their first companion, but she has 3 that she's literally calling her fam. Like she's then, like I said, to me,
Which
I think,
actually originated with 11 and prior to 11.
Mhm.
Just reminding people.
well, but I
how
don't think
things-
that I don't think we ever saw a level of attachment except for with. I mean, 11 was attached to Amy,
Really, I was gonna say,
like
Amy.
Well,
it really
But that's a
intensely.
companion. That's
Yeah.
different. It's
But-
not a family unit.
So
No, it was Amy and Rory. Okay, go ahead.
Sorry,
Sorry.
Molly.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so my partner brought up a really good point. You know how like in the Christmas specials they include Christmas. I think the only part of New Year's was like the very first couple of lines and maybe some fireworks they saw from the TARDIS or the Galaxy fireworks.
Well, the doctor said something about my New Year's resolution is something about
Right.
Yeah.
But I think that's the reason that they brought. I thought about it, and I was like, that's the reason they brought the storyline in, because it's New Year's, time to turn over a new leaf, and
Well, this was supposed to be the 20th New Year's Eve. They were about to go on again, and then all of this happened. So maybe we'll see it towards the end. Who knows? It depends.
Yeah, maybe. So, Louis, do you think this is turning over a new leaf? Do you think they're going to jettison Graham? They left without Graham. Are they going to replace him with the new guy?
Okay, we're back.
We're back on.
Okay.
Oh, that's scary. I don't like it. Not the doctor. I mean, the Dalek is scary too.
But no, oh my god, I love the new Daleks.
Right?
Yes.
Upgraded, degraded, or deconstructed. There you go. Upgraded, deconstructed, or deconstructed, upgraded Daleks. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get it the right way.
Why do humans never
Molly,
remember
are
the
you back
Daleks?
yet?
No, sure.
Almost, but we just saw the upgraded Dalek. Holy crap.
Oh, you said it too. Okay, cool.
Why do humans never remember Daleks?
Yeah.
Like, why is it not in our, like, I don't
Well,
know.
it got erased last time.
The unit goes behind and they erase everything.
Yeah.
And remember, they
Didn't
have there's an entire race of
so
beings.
counteractive, though. 'Cause
Where
if
have
they
you
erase-
been? Don't you
No, I was
remember
just
in
trying to make
11
sure,
that they
because-
showed you them erasing everybody?
But, like, wouldn't the military, like,
Well, and also,
Yeah,
no more unit. I mean, unit's been around since Tom Baker. What do you mean, no more unit?
I figured that was, like, their kind of more, quote unquote, I guess, cop out way of having to, like, to not have bring them in. But I mean,
Yeah.
I looked at the doctor. She's like, "Get me Kate Stewart," and she's like,
hold a moment, please. Excuse me while I check.
That was hilarious.
I love
yeah, like
that
the
moment.
pacing.
I thought that
Honestly,
was awesome.
the pacing, the dialogue, everything really got better just after like that second
First 15
commercial.
minutes.
Yeah.
The first 15 minutes were kind of off.
It
Ah,
really didn't need
Yeah.
some of that.
totally agreed. Now we're all on the same page.
I think so. Yeah.
And
You asked Lewis at the end.
Graham.
He didn't get to answer. What was your question again? He said, Lewis, did you?
So they left Graham behind. What did you think of that? That was the first time that they left him behind.
I'm glad that they brought the dialogue in. That was a much needed line, and that's the type of humor that I want to see in Doctor Who, not the
Yeah.
We're back.
Yep, completely.
Yeah, we're back.
Are we
These are short commercials.
Back?
I think.
Okay, we're still at commercial, so I'll talk to him at.
Oh no, sorry.
No, it's one of those stay tuned moments. At least this one wasn't a spoiler one. Good Lord, if they don't stop those, we need to do a writing campaign to tell them to stop these stay tuned things. They're
Yes,
irritating.
they're annoying.
Is Elite when?
So that was good, right?
Yeah, no, I love how
that.
Graham he said that line. That was perfect.
Like, what?
That's the type of humor I want to hear, not this easy, god awful Hallmark Channel
Romance.
Right.
romance that just it's.
Well, that wasn't
It's so
humor. That was
off-putting.
just cheesy romance. That
It
again,
was cheesy moments. But I like when he calls her on the phone and he's like, "You better come get me."
he was so. Oh, you were still watching. I was like, I love how he was so indignant about it. She's like, "What do you think you're doing, leaving me behind?"
With him.
Yeah,
like-
that was the only thing that was missing. With him. Oh, I love Graham. I mean, 100%. That's.
Well, the thing is,
But I'm like,
it's well written.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
they are very well written. They're just not.
You
I don't
have to
think
get-
that they're
we
fleshed
have
out.
the full depth of Graham. That's the thing. Is
Well,
we're
that's
still
what we
getting
needed
to
in this
everything. That's
season.
why I think that Graham's not going to continue, and
Right.
because we have like there's not much else they can do with like his growth. I feel like that's the reason they've held back. Personally, I think that's why they've held back on Yaz's backstory more so than what we've seen, because
yeah,
she can grow further out.
She needs to grow a lot.
Yeah, I mean
she
personally,
does.
I say I love her as a character, but that's because like I'm going with what we have and the backstory that we have, and it's
For us, we understand it because we connect to her backstory.
I mean, yeah, that too.
Sure.
I just because we've seen her family, we've seen like the dialogue that she's had with people around her, and then like her career as a policewoman, like it's not overpowering, and that's the point. It's not supposed to be, because she was new, one, in the police academy, but two, it's like sprinkled here and there, and it's like the companions.
Well, it
careers,
came up today because she
exactly
got to play that character today.
and it comes in every so often.
No, but I really like this. I like where this is going. I like this aspect of the Daleks. It's really fun. It's definitely an interesting and fresh look on them.
I like seeing this. We've needed to see this. We needed to have an understanding of the inception and the creation and the growth and the manipulation and the what is it? The brain.
There's a
brain
lot
melding and the
it's a lot.
brainwashing, and it's just this whole.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be
Molly,
curious to have a show
you should
really
almost be.
focused
Oh wow!
culture?
Yeah, it has like
Ooh. Like we got that with Starro with Capaldi, you remember?
Yep.
So we really got a good look at it, and also about their
I'm just dying to see.
genocide and all that other stuff. But okay,
I'm still digesting what we just saw.
all right. Oh my
Oh my gosh!
I'm
Okay.
I want more.
How many hands up for Aaron's gonna die? Because this season and this Chibnall likes to kill people once we learn to care for them.
I don't think that they would.
No.
That's why I'm trying to think where this is going to go.
Because everyone's asking on Twitter.
That's the whole
That's where
point.
everyone's going.
Oh, I think the way that all of the shows have gone by so far, they've had very few deaths, very few this year, compared to previous Doctors episodes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it could go either way. I mean, they might have brought him in for the microwave thing, and then like, okay, you're the host for the Dalek thing, and then maybe, okay, well, you've had your use and you're gone.
Ryan's dad, so I don't think.
I think
So maybe.
I think they might kill him off because, again, it's going back to Chibnall's writing. The only way that he knows how to move a plot forward is by killing people.
Or
That's true.
or open-ended plot point. But they haven't been doing that with
That's
this
not the
particular
only
showrunner.
way, Louis. That was anyway. I think that like Ryan's gonna get in trouble, and then the only way like he can maybe regain control that way. I don't know where he.
Or do you think the Dalek's gonna hop from Aaron to Ryan?
I doubt it.
I
Doubt it.
can't see where this one's gonna go. I really can't anymore.
I think that it's gonna probably like be a last minute thing. It's one of two things are gonna save him. Ryan's either gonna save him, or the what do you call it? The Dalek is gonna realize that there's no hope because there's no Dalek.
There's no fleet.
No Dalek fleet.
He thinks that the
Yeah,
fleet
there's no like, yeah.
been gone, right, guys? Am I?
Well,
yeah,
well,
that was our understanding, is that it was there's no more fleet.
Well,
It's about to come back.
it is the Daleks. So goodness gracious, who knows?
how many times have we been deceived by the Daleks
Yeah.
already? So it's like I don't know if there's a fleet.
Yeah.
anymore.
And honestly, we kept predicting things, and it hasn't gone in any way. It actually has been a fairly unpredictable episode, except for the eventual.
Which is a good thing,
No, it is.
you know. Yeah, but I'm kind of digging, getting back to the origins. Do you remember the Tom Baker
Thank you.
episode? It was like the end of
Thank you,
end
Mom.
of 3. Well, it was the end of the third Doctor going into the fourth Doctor.
Going into
I was
fourth.
right.
Yep.
I was like third or fifth. But it was
No,
third.
and I said it was. Yeah, I said it was fourth. It's
I just remember that because that's like it was an episode with I think where he first one of the first episodes he like interacted with Unit, and he took a car or something.
Mhm.
Like they were.
Yeah.
it was grounded.
So, but
No, go ahead.
no, but I just find it interesting. We're kind of getting back to that kind of primal Dalek. You know, we saw Davros, with Capaldi, and there was all this kind of like almost not touchy-feely stuff, because they're obviously not touchy-feely.
I
But,
love that.
it's
Coining the phrase, the primal Dalek. I love it.
yeah, and it's cool. It's cool to go back to see that 9th century original. Like
We're back.
these
on.
guys were badass. Oh, you're back on. Okay, talk to you soon.
And it works out.
I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this one.
It was good up like I
don't
felt
like
weird
the
about it up
ending.
until
Probably,
It was, like,
honestly,
really
at least
unceremonious.
first impression wise, I would probably give it like a 6 out of 10. This episode.
Okay, we're still here. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
I give it a 6 out of 10.
It's just ending for me. 1 second.
yeah.
I don't know. Well, final thoughts, honestly, the best part of it was
Okay, awesome.
The Dalek.
the Dalek. Yeah.
I have to say
So,
the ending was a bit unceremonious, just because like it would have been more. I would have been more comfortable with the Ryan and Stella thing if like instead were like at the time, like at the same time he also was like, I'm sorry, and then
yeah.
I love you, because he kind of just I forgive you, but he never actually acknowledged anything nice.
No, he didn't.
No,
And it was and you know what's kind of cool too is now we have the definitive end of the Daleks. Possibly.
no way.
Well, she didn't say.
We
She
really
was
don't
like,
know.
She was like, "Oh yeah, no fleet, just a supernova," but she didn't say that like.
Yeah, because she
Oh,
took
but
him
there
back
is
to
no
the original point of where the fleet was destroyed and the supernova was impending.
It's the Daleks.
This is way back to the original origins of Doctor Who again.
But remember, what
Yeah.
happened last time they went into a supernova? They came out the other side and they still
Exactly.
survived.
It's like
And we know
That's
that,
true.
right? Because that comes back in 10. That comes back even before
exactly.
10.
Well,
So,
this is the thing.
I mean, we don't know, but the Doctor only can
I'm
deal
so-
with the moment
like,
that the Doctor
what?
deals with.
The World Darts Championship is on, or it came on after Doctor Who, and I'm like, what?
There's actually a tick competition, a national tickling
Oh,
competition.
Lord. How did we get from Doctor Who to these things?
Because
Okay,
it's
let's
on
stay on
TV.
point. Stay on point, people.
So I mean, I would agree. I think it wrapped up super fast.
Too fast. Too fast.
And
like that.
I was just like, oh, is that it? Okay. Well, the reason why I'm saying, I mean, you know, obviously they go back and forth through time all the time, right? And of course, now we discover that there's a Dalek buried on Earth. Who's to say there isn't a Dalek buried somewhere else too?
That's what I was
Yeah.
just
And
thinking too,
again,
man.
this is exactly
The Daleks will
point.
always make their comeback.
the Daleks will out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
As long as the
Or
Doctor
fortunately.
exists, a Dalek will exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I still think it was kind of cool that, you know, it was able to get to the archive and grab pieces of its former self.
I
And
think-
that
Really intelligent.
That went by so
um,
fast, though. It was like,
I
oh
wanted
yeah,
to see
casually just
more.
broken. That's when I'm like, I think the Dalek part of it. They opened up.
I'm of the mind that this was a longer episode, as you said,
Well, they made
and
it
that
more
because
one-
of the amount of commercials that they had no choice but to put in, that they had to edit
Yeah.
extremely crucial points. I would love to see an uncut version of this episode, because then I think my rating on it or my overall feeling on it would probably go up,
No.
because we'd be seeing that we're probably
Possibly, yeah.
all right.
I mean, if like what scale are we doing? Are we doing like a 1 out of 10, 1 out of 7?
Whatever you feel comfortable doing,
I
honestly.
can't make that. I'm still processing.
And again, this
So I mean, yeah. I mean, for me, if I was to do like a 1 out of 10 or whatever, or 1 to 10 rather, I'd give this episode probably a 6.5. I loved the primal Dalek aspect of it. I thought it was super cool tying it into the old Who with the new Who.
Yes.
And I think that I wanted to see more of that, more than just your typical exterminate. You know, I wanted to see more. You know, I wanted to get a little bit more of that flavor. Ryan's dad was interesting. I don't think we'll really see much of him. I think they made their peace, so now his angst about his dad will be gone for a little bit. You know, so they don't have to touch it.
It felt like it was just like, okay, kind of like the middle part was good, but then it was like, okay, well, let's just wrap it up so he doesn't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, do you think that it could be relevant to the storyline or even the timeline?
Sorry,
I
cut
think
you
They
off,
gave
Molly.
him something that was relevant.
I think that they cut him off and they kind of like cut off that whole thing that could have been into the next season, and they just killed it
Mhm.
off
They
and they
might.
resolved it so quickly. And
I
it's
guess
like,
they left it a
What?
little open. Like, I am hoping that Ryan like kind of goes back on himself a little bit, and he's like, well, wait.
and then
My
the
dad
doctor
still
like
kind of sucks a little
the
bit.
doctor makes it this huge deal when he comes in for the first time, and then suddenly, oh, it's okay. What?
And this makes up for your parenting discrepancies.
Huge deal. The doctor states the obvious. That's all I'm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing is, it's like it's
The
crossed very
obvious.
strongly for you, whereas it's like it's just an obvious statement. He's a bad parent.
Well, I know that.
Yeah.
So she says, "You abandoned Ryan." She's stating both a recap for the audience, and then also like,
Yes.
dude, 'cause
Yes.
it can't come from Yaz. It can't come from Graham, and it can't come from Ryan.
That's what we were saying.
gonna
It
come
couldn't
from the doctor.
anyone else.
And it has to, because it's also Doctor Who. So it's like, and we don't see a lot of this season where she is very protective of Ryan in that sense. We see a lot of encouragement. So if you go back and watch a season and just watch the interactions between Ryan and the Doctor, because I've actually made note of it. Every episode, she makes a point. Doctor makes a point to encourage Ryan. It's like, well done,
Yes.
good job. So it's if you think about it, it's a parenting role. And
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I see that. I'm just saying, like,
But not mother though. Not mother.
it was resolved way too easily for what it was.
Totally agree with you. I was like, wait, what?
I was like, no, that it can't be that easy. No, it's in real life, it's not that easy.
It's not.
You don't just resolve.
But
it.
I think that's on Ryan's. Like, that's the writing on Ryan's end, because the Doctor was like, well, that
Well, it goes
almost
back to
makes
the
up.
writing.
Yes, she's like, it almost makes
Yeah.
up. Parenting deficiency.
Well, and also,
At the moment, so maybe that's what.
That's why maybe next season he'll be like, oh wait, my dad still kind of sucks. Like, he never apologized to
Molly,
me.
what were you saying?
I don't think so. I think the angst with the dad's going to be gone because the dad's like, "Peace, I'm out." I mean, at the end, he's like, I'm not involved." And in fact, he said, "Take good care of him." You know. So.
Well, it's not. That may not have been a foreign concept to him, feeling that Ryan is taken care of now. You know, there. So.
No, I don't like how they did it with him at all. He's
I
just
don't
like,
like it.
I mean, I can see his
They
dad
should've.
going like, yeah, no, because that would fall in line with his character. But like being like, oh, yeah, they definitely wrapped that up really quick, and they didn't need to, because they could have done it in a resolve that was more angst.
Yeah, they could have.
And they could have given us
I would have
an
liked
Easter
some
special.
angst.
They could have given us something to hold us over until the next year, instead of cutting it off so quickly and so
I
just.
agree.
They could have done
Oh
something
yeah.
with Tennant at the end, that they kind of prolonged it with specials. So they could have done a special and then
It took
come
him
back.
how
They
long
have the
to have
funding.
to leave? And
I
to
actually
die,
genuinely
regenerate?
don't think they have the funding. I think that's why they've had to
Yes,
stand it up for so long.
that's
and
true.
why it was in question that none of them were coming back.
So
No.
Molly, looking at this from that post I sent out at the beginning, thinking back at the original Classic Who, do you see where everyone was saying there's homage to Classic Who here and to the timeline?
Oh, for sure. Oh yeah. I mean, I think unless you know Unit and you know some of these other things, I mean, even though Unit, pops up now and again throughout all the new Who, I think of I want to say Brigadier, but Commodore, all of them, all these old characters. There's no way of really bringing in Unit without bringing in about 1,000 people. That's an exaggeration, but yeah, I saw flashes of maybe some homage to the old Who in her face, in her smile, kind of like, oh, gotcha, yeah, Daleks, it's personal. Yeah, it's personal. It's been personal.
That's what I mentioned, like that scene specifically where she was like, the Doctor, we only ever really see the Doctor goad on an enemy and like really, like not just engage them, but like genuinely like push their buttons a bit with the Daleks. Like,
oh yeah.
Genuine hatred.
Yeah, that's the
Which
thing.
is something that the Doctor was
So
called to task for, remember?
Like she smiled. She was like, "Oh yeah,
Yep.
scan me like I'm the Doctor," and that's
Yeah,
why
I love that.
I was immediately triggered. She wasn't even like, it didn't even process to be like go for cover, like say that. But that's genuine. Like that part was, I think Jodie did really well.
Oh, she did really
like
well this
phenomenally,
episode.
honestly.
She did really well
with
this episode.
copying as many doctors as she could.
I'm telling you, they were flashing across my mind, and you kept hearing me say
They
it.
were.
They were
But-
totally flashing.
Now,
She
the only thing that I
she
had
really, really strikes me. The first Doctor just comes across so strong for me.
I agree.
It's just me, but yeah.
I
Me
could
too.
see the a-hole in this doctor a lot
Mhm.
that you see in Hartnell.
And the crassness and the
Yeah.
It's a blunt.
perfunctory,
It's very
blunt dialogue, and yep,
and it's
Yes,
a
it's
perfect
not-
Oh yeah.
going from Capaldi to
That's
this.
correct.
It's
Yeah,
kind of it
that's
flows
correct.
correctly.
Yeah.
But the
It
only-
does. It does.
is that I haven't seen Jodie completely take on her own identity yet as the doctor.
True. We were just talking about that earlier today. We're waiting for it. We're waiting to see her take on it. But I mean, it's always that first season. Always they never
Well, it needs
get to it.
So
It's
no,
always
yeah,
the
it
second
has to
season.
take a while.
So in the timeline of the Doctor and the Regeneration,
It's
it
usually
takes
one
the whole
season.
season.
I get that,
Because-
but I wanted, since this was a special, I was like, hopefully maybe we'll see some type of evolution
I
in
think
her,
it
but
has to-
I haven't
Don't
seen
you
that.
feel
I
like
think we did though. I
But
think we did. I thought we saw some flashes of it.
But I think a lot of
Yes,
what
flashes.
you might be
not all of
holding
it? No.
against some of the writing, like in the Doctor, is her own identity. Is this Doctor's identity?
I think so.
Because
I agree with you.
this
Yeah.
Doctor's identity is blunt. Going up to a character doesn't matter who they are. It just tends that this season
That is
the bad guys tend to be men.
the digest.
So going up to them and calling them out, like
yeah.
being blunt, because this Doctor literally isn't holding back. Or that's why, like, we were just watching what was it, the second last?
Capaldi was too though. Capaldi was blunt also.
We were just watching that episode, and I was like,
This is what people could not
He's
understand
so
about
harsh.
Capaldi,
but
his harshness.
you have to understand, like, you have to get it. So that's why it's like I see where people can be put off a little bit with Jodie, but like if you liked Capaldi, there's no reason
Yep.
you shouldn't like her.
Agreed.
I
Absolutely.
really liked Capaldi. I liked Capaldi.
I really like
Do
Jodie.
you
yeah.
think?
I really like Jodie
Do
as
you
a,
think
as a
that
doctor.
the
I'm
Doctor
glad for
could
general.
ever have made his way through 50 billion years to get out of his prison? If the Doctor wasn't the Doctor that
And
at that time,
this is the following.
there
gener-
was
yeah.
no other Doctor who I think had reached not just the capability, but I think the emotional fortitude and that strength of will and this absolute focused commitment, although albeit it was a wrong focus, but to be able to come back and destroy himself over and over and over again. And I think that this Doctor, as part of this Doctor's identity, could also have possibly stepped into that role. I judge a lot of the Doctors against that particular episode. I really do.
Sure.
I think the
Does
writing
that make
also
sense?
hasn't allowed her to have like that.
I agree.
That episode where
I would agree with that too.
monologue.
Absolutely.
Then again, Capaldi didn't have it until like
Capaldi
later
didn't.
on.
Well, no,
Listen.
because in the
No,
first
he did.
season, in
We
Listen,
heard it and listen.
yeah, that was the first season,
That was the first really
and that was
strong
the first
monologue.
season of his.
But that wasn't really relevant to Oni himself,
I think
right?
that's
That
also
was what
part
it
of
was.
But
Well,
that
it
was his doctor.
It was his Doctor.
That was his
Remember,
Doctor.
it was him.
Well, think about it too. I mean, you're going from Matt Smith, who was comical,
Well,
who didn't seem to have much seriousness, to Capaldi, who was like, it was very different.
and it also
Matt
has to do with
Smith
it's
had actually
completely
a
different.
lot of seriousness. What he
Yeah.
did was he hid behind his
That's why it was such a
his,
young
his
face.
childish youthfulness,
It was
and that is
whimsical.
why he had to be a young character.
That's why
and it-
Capaldi wasn't. They justified or like the older face to be more
And who
like,
says it?
in line with.
It is actually said very clearly when
Doctor.
he made with the war doctor, and then again,
Mhm.
yet again, it is said by the of Gallifrey.
The time.
Yes.
Time ladies, I always forget what they're called.
Time Lord
She
ladies.
said she calls him out like flat on it. Oh, okay, this is why this is the way it is.
I think that's the other thing is we
Mhm.
haven't had.
You know what I'm
because-
talking
because
about,
with
right,
Moffat,
Molly?
there was
Remember
so much.
Yeah.
how when
Gallifrey.
he's down in the Citadel, etc., and he's having that.
Yeah, time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because this season,
She also did it. To
and I
Tony.
understand why, because we went from the last two seasons having like kind of an overload with new Gallifreyan like interaction and information that
Mhm.
the creators and writers made the decision with this season not to touch on Gallifrey, like not to touch.
I wish
on,
they would.
Well,
I
I
wanted
would
to.
say
But they kind of did tonight, though. They kind of did tonight only because they're going back to the whole Skrull thing. They're going back to that whole origin thing. So it was very subtle.
Well, I think that's
But
what I'm saying is like I'm saying it as the reason for why like people may feel that that like this doctor hasn't had their like identity completely solidified yet because
Oh, sure.
they haven't had that. But I get why, because I honestly would have been too much in this first season because coming off.
Well, there's already
Well,
been
the
so
whole
much.
the whole season has been a focus on I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna say it. It's been a play on a lot of social justice points and a lot of social justice points of view, which is great because this is going back to what Doctor Who was. It's a life lesson for children to watch with their parents, and it's meant to be informative for children. And I get the whole point of the season, so I do not want to dismiss the point of the season and what they did. But they haven't been able to go into the building of the mythology, which they have in the last.
But I don't think they should. I think that they shouldn't have with the first season because they wanted this to be like a bit like a reboot in a sense. And
that's what I was saying.
In all honesty,
in
like
short episode,
if I described my feeling coming off of Moffat era with like how much
it was exhausting.
It was exactly exhausting. We needed a break.
Yes.
So this season, for me, like you said, okay, social. My first thought that came to my head was it was about the companions. Like I mean, through the companions, we saw those stories, but it was about, you know, Ryan, Yaz, and Graham's, you know, emotions and stories and histories.
Yeah, like Punjab and then the Rosa Parks. Absolutely. I mean, we saw their characters come through in those. But, you know, what's interesting, though, is there was still a lot of social justice, just not over hit you in the head type stuff, social justice with Bill.
Yes.
Oh, very much. I just
But
rewatched all of that.
That was very subtle and very back in the back end of the story.
Wait. So there absolutely was with Clara as well.
Correct, there was. And the last, since the beginning of Modern Who, it's always been like that. It's always been inclination of it. It's just this season made it blunt and very to the point.
Yes,
they did make it blunt.
But if you look back at 9, the entire season of 9 is about social justice and social finance and cultural issues, and it is literally written into the language of Christopher Eccleston. Every single episode, at least one time, he very clearly and quite bluntly brings up that point.
The reason that people feel very like
if you go back and look at the episode, you'll see what I'm saying.
I know.
No, you're right. You're right. I agree.
The reason,
and he did it beautifully. Just saying. Sorry.
For me, I was saying, for me, wrap up wise, like, and wrap up video wise, like, or discussion wise, I would say that, or I guess technically people would consider it arguing, but the reason that people, I think, find this season so hit over the head social justice is just because it's more specific. It's in the past, it's been a general commentary on humanity, but
innuendo.
It's very much innuendo, and this season, and you know what? I'm sorry, but Doctor Who needed this season.
It did.
It needed a season like this because these issues need to be brought up more and more, and people are not having this conversation.
Well,
and this is bringing that conversation to the forefront.
It makes it
real.
I agree.
Relevant. It makes it relatable, relevant, relatable. Like Doctor Who actually hasn't been like that. I think, like Molly, like you said, with Bill, I felt just Doctor Who had become relatable for the first time in a while. I didn't like that. I loved Doctor Who with Matt Smith era. I definitely did. But like, it was very much like a distance, like I could dissociate from it, like be like, okay, this is like a sci-fi show. But with Capaldi and with Jodie, I'm genuinely taken into it to where it's like,
that's great.
This can exist in our universe. Like this is very relevant to the world. And that's what Doctor Who initially was supposed to be.
Yeah.
Generationally relevant. We have this conversation.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to, like, this, every time there's a reincarnation, it's not just a regeneration of the Doctor, it's actually changing the face of the Doctor. And that's not just physically, it's metaphorically as well. And you're seeing different personality of the Doctor. But the Doctor is us. We all have these personalities that you could see in the Doctor's face. We all have a feminine personality. We all have male personalities. We just don't bring them all to light. We have a balance inside of us. The Doctor does not, because of these regenerations. And by seeing this is what makes Doctor Who so fresh, is that we're able to see all these different perceptions of what the Doctor sees in humanity and in life in general. And that's what makes this show so amazing for us, is that we all identify with different Doctors. Why? Because of the companions that they bring along. Joe, you associate with Bill. Nisha, which is the one that you associate the one with the most?
Companion-wise?
Companion and Doctor-wise.
Oh, goodness gracious me. That's a big question.
I honestly, personally associate with Martha and Tennant the most.
I adore them.
That was my favorite because I love that combination. First of all, I love women that actually show off that they could do so much stuff and they're badasses, for lack of a better word.
Super intelligent.
Exactly. And
what
they're
an
not,
unsung companion Martha was.
And they're not like just,
Martha
they're not sexualized. They're not
correct.
marginalized and they're not sexualized in any way or form. She is a badass because she is a badass.
Yeah, I just don't like that they made her fall in love with the Doctor. It was absolutely unnecessary.
I wouldn't say that though.
So that's what most people don't like Martha for, but
I hate it.
I think
it
it's
was
one of her.
so unnecessary.
I mean, it definitely, in a way, it could have been, but it was one of her biggest strengths that she was able to work with.
Exactly.
Anywho, coming back to this season, I'll take the last point that Reggie made with us here, because he's been keeping up the whole time, and I completely agree. He said that this season has been a breath of fresh air. He enjoyed the social justice aspect and thought that was a well-needed run after a run of all the entities that have a grudge against the Doctor. And genuinely, that's what the past few seasons has just been like. It really has been. So a breath of fresh air is like a great description. And I love all the new monsters, creatures, species that we've seen, and the reiterations like the Dalek, and
or perhaps seeing that there's an entire existence, and it's not parallel, right?
No.
So we see the Doctor existing here with companions, having these experiences. The Earth is experiencing this. These planets we already knew experienced this. But in this season, we get to see everything else that is existing, almost like, when the Sonic lets out the sound, it's just, what is, I always forget what it's called. It's like multiplicity, or it's
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right? There's a domino effect.
Yeah.
So with this season, we're getting to see the waves of the domino effect for things we would never, and we have never been privy to see. Yeah. Because we're getting to see those long-term effects of things, right?
Oh, you mean the butterfly effect or the domino effect?
It is the domino and the butterfly effect. It was actually both. So good, very good. Got onto it. I just couldn't think of the term for it. It's good.
Sure.
And I think that the butterfly effect is such an important point of perspective for the Doctor, don't you think?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe. Does anyone want to explain that? Maybe viewers. I think most viewers understand what it means.
For anyone still watching, thank you for for keeping in there with us. I just realized, it's been live definitely for over a couple hours, almost
2 hours. Yeah.
So thank you for being there with us, and not wrapping up just yet, but about to. If you have any questions, comments, or theories that you want to discuss with us, you can
I just caught that. The rewatch is already on, so we're looking at it. And
I just played. I have it recorded on DVR, so
I was wondering.
I played the episode right back over. But yeah, so
that's
with us.
Beautiful. I don't know how I missed this.
We have our the scene was great. We have our Facebook group, Diversity Geek Discusses. You can find us in that group and start a thread, put any comments in there, or on any of our social media channels in general. But if you like the conversation that we are having right now and this discussion of Doctor Who, and you tend to have a conversation like that about Doctor Who or other fandoms that you have, do make sure that you before we head off here, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, even Tumblr. Sometimes I'm on there. But on YouTube, you can find our Diversity Geek Discusses series, where we go in depth to a lot of series and pieces of media, like we're doing here. But more often, we'll be doing our podcasts, as will Man Bites Media, and you can find those specifically over at.
You could check out anything from Man Bites Media on any podcast site that you currently choose.
Like
We're on
Spotify,
everything. We're on
iTunes.
Spotify, iTunes, any type of Google Play app. You will find us on there.
Right.
You will find us on Podbean. There's about 36 different sites that you can find us on. So we're pretty much everywhere and anywhere. If you want to check out more content as well for YouTube-wise, check us out on YouTube under the same name, Man Bites Media. And we have about 150 reviews up on that channel, spanning almost 3 years. And also you could check out one of our associates, which is Narcotic Casserole, and all the productions that he does on there as well, which he is consistently putting stuff up on YouTube. And that is part of our Man Bites Media YouTube site.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up is just because I know we're wrapping up here, and you might be starting to do your own things at the end of the episode. But if you liked, joining along with us, do make sure that you follow up with, our YouTube channels, our podcast streaming channels. I guess they technically are media sites in general. And again, if you have any specific topic that you're looking to discuss, or even if you have any thoughts on Doctor Who, or if you've ever had some long running theory or discussion with yourself about something in Doctor Who, and it's just you're dying to have a conversation with other Whovians, let us know.
Join us.
Yeah, exactly. Join us, because we
Go
would
in the dark side. Sorry.
Definitely.
Oh,
Oh goodness.
Yeah. So again, let us know. Give us a shout
Definitely.
out about what you'd want to discuss, or what
Hey,
you want to see us.
And let us know how you liked this particular platform and how we did this today, because we thoroughly enjoyed it, right, guys? I think
Sure.
it's fun doing it this way, with both the live stream and the podcast at the same time. I think we might probably do this again sometime in the future.
yeah, definitely.
pretty
And
awesome.
also,
Premiere.
just a little messenger,
Definitely
something that
for
was
the
already
premiere.
sent to us. Nerdy Chap actually asked how many drinks of Chibnall's regular consistent themes were in this film, because he wants to know how much he's going to drink when he watches the episode.
Oh, at least 5 or 6.
So if you haven't seen any of our, or listened to any of our other Doctor Who reviews, we've been keeping count each episode, okay, what's reoccurring, what's consistent, and there has been at least one death toward the beginning of the episodes early on, but they kind of started they stopped with that a little bit, but there were deaths in this episode, but it took a while to get to them, and it was a Dalek.
did.
So
Let's put it
there
this
had to
way.
be deaths.
They probably, Nerdy Chap, you will be drunk by the end of the episode.
Probably.
Yeah.
Knowing you.
I agree. Get drinking, Nerdy Chat.
It's Chibnall. He has this thing. But if we had started that back with Moffat, I wouldn't be.
That would have been us on
standing.
the other side, exactly.
Not that I even drink, but I just, even without drinking, I would not be standing, because it was that intense.
Yes.
Moffat theming. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys want to wrap up with any thoughts in particular, or if you'd like any. We like to end with a specific quote that we enjoyed from the episode, or from the season, or just in general, a quote. Does anyone have anything that they want to wrap up with?
Other than just its personal comment, I thought that was some good classic Who there, so I enjoyed that part.
That was nice.
When the doctor's like, it's personal. That was
The
a
creation
moment.
of the Dalek from scratch. That was awesome. That's probably the best.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was just wonderful to see
And
the
you?
genesis of the Doctor of the Dalek in this particular way.
So,
was very
We could say
refreshing.
for you, it would have been Junkyard Chic.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely junkyard chic. I thought the upgrades with the missiles was pretty cool.
That was scary. Actually, it was like
It was scary
Yes.
because that you're all of a sudden you got this Dalek. It's like, ooh,
yourself.
watch out.
What moment did you enjoy?
Are you asking me? You know how it is with my brain, and I have so much to go through. There were a lot of refreshing points throughout it. I kind of love that we had such a lively discussion and back and forths on this, because that's what I want to be able to see in an episode, is that we should be able to have questions and be able to question.
Favorite moment?
Mhm.
So
So-
dialogue.
Stop it! I'm trying to figure out.
You know, she's got at least 10. She's got at least 10.
Does anybody know me by now?
Like usually we have a day to process this and go back and rewatch it.
So you guys do know I live tweet as we do this, so all of my favorite quotes are right here in front of me.
Yeah.
No, I
so
don't have
just
to
check
Ah.
the Twitter feed, and you'll
Just
be able to
check
see
out the
all
Twitter
her
feed,
favorite
and you're
moments.
actually going to see at least 20 something of those in here. So because I've been tweeting out. There's so many of them. Goodness. Loving the scarves, yes. Favorite
was
year
me. I was
ever.
loving
One
the
day.
scarves.
Okay. So I think I said you might have weapons, but you're a long way from conquest.
Yes,
The
that was
doc-
good.
So the Doctor's interaction with the Dalek seems to be pretty much a favorite here. Personally, I
Mhm.
just
And
love Graham.
I love the old school, by the way. I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just loved Graham. I specifically just loved.
Everything and anything he said.
Yeah, like
The bromance.
the complete like his stature, like his body language, his facial expression, specifically in when he's like, "You need to come pick me up." Like,
Why would you
Yeah.
think, right?
Well, I feel like with Graham, we've gotten to know him the best. Like we still have yet to get to know Yaz. We still have yet to really get to know Ryan. But Graham, his character now, I feel like we have now gotten a more complete picture of who he is.
and shout out from Reggie, his favorite moment, which was my close second, was Ryan's speech to his father in the pub, and
Yeah.
it was a wonderful.
Beautiful.
It's actually
Beautiful.
back on, for
And
us
that's
right now.
actually what's on right now. What we're
But
watching.
yeah, like that whole, like this is what I would say. So thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you.
Today. Happy New Year. Happy Who Year.
Wow.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
I think I want to close with a line. So Ryan's dad says, Aaron says, and he's talking with Graham, and he says, I wish I was better at life, Graham. And Graham says, there's still time. I think that the simplest of that line means it's a new year. There's another year ahead of us that's filled with possibilities, and it's gonna be a mixture of good stuff, bad stuff, and all the in between. But it's still possibilities, and at the end of it, there's something joyous that's going to come from it. Because a year ago we were
Love that.
doing this, and here we are doing it now with these two amazing friends of ours. So, with all of those difficulties and all of the difficulties we have in living our life, remember that there's still time to live it perfectly imperfect, as we always say.
Definitely.
Very nice.
I think that's
I love that.
that's a great message for the new year. So happy 2019, everyone. I think
Jack.
that's it. It's just a salute. I mean, I'll be like the Doctor, fam, gang, whatever else she says. Good night, DG lovelies. Thank you for joining us, and have
Love
a
to.
happy Who Year.
Happy New Year!
Good night, all. Good night.
Good night.